Hi, everybody. This is 1,881 days since Richard was forcibly removed from the barracks room and his life was taken from him after being, and it was brutal, after being retaliated against by these monsters for reporting on the child exploitation, the worst type of crimes against children, and the criminal trafficking and all that entails. And also for what he knew about the Walmart mass shooting case. This is very clear evidence is piling up all the time that Richard knew about the orchestration of the Walmart mass shooting, which had a couple of purposes, and one of the main purposes was to fabricate a false narrative to attack President Trump and to affect the election. This is all about the seat of power. This is all about the seat of power, and we're at the top levels um, being who is behind Woody Hunt. I mean, it's like, okay, he's a Mormon faction leader, right? Who's behind Woody Hunt and his meetings with Soros. And also, um, Greg Abbott does not look good in all of this, y'all. Greg Abbott looks very dirty. Every day he looks worse and worse. Um, you know, just to let you know out there in Texas, uh, Governor Greg Abbott looks very dirty in all of this. And we're talking about the worst type of crimes. We're talking about the worst type of crimes, crimes that you can't even imagine, right? And crimes that, not worst type of crimes against children only, but we're talking about the worst type of crimes with embezzlement, theft, things that you just can't even imagine. Um, this is just total abuse of power and abuse of our country, abuse of the beautiful state of Texas, the huge state of Texas. Um, and no one messes with Texas, but it looks like Governor Greg Abbott and Woody Hunt did. They did absolutely, and they did it to do no good. They didn't do any good, okay? They're up to no good. They didn't do any good. And they really, uh, it's looking very, very bad. It's looking bad. So, what do you do? What do you do with billionaires, right? And people with the power like Governor Abbott? That's why they paired up, because one has the billions and the other one has the power, right? Governor Abbott he's one of the most powerful men in the world. And people might not understand that, because as Texas goes, so goes the United States, so goes the world. And being the governor of Texas is a big deal. It's a very, very big deal worldwide, because the economy in Texas is so big. So let me make sure that I should have done this earlier, make sure that I'm on and that you can hear me, because this is really important information that I'm giving out. And I don't know. I haven't heard too many people talk about this. Let's see, make sure everything is working. Thank you, Anicia, for coming on. Thank you so much for your prayers and your love. I haven't heard too many people talk the way we do, but of course, we're in a very unique situation, being a Gold Star family of really a national hero. Absolutely a national hero. His name is indelible and will never be forgotten, and that's our son, Richard Halliday. And I'm not saying that. I'm just saying what all the evidence has said, and I'm just very proud to be his mother, very proud, and I miss him. Um, so, um, so we're in this very unique situation to find out what happened, because we knew that they were lying to us, and they were absolutely absurd. And we had no idea, and people that have been following this know that what I'm saying is absolutely true. We had no idea that it would be bigger than um, the Iran-Contra scandal, way bigger than the Iran-Contra scandal. This is bigger than the 911. Okay? It's bigger than 9/11, really. And you might be like, "Wait a minute, no way, no way." And how I'm measuring this is not on because there's been so many lives lost, right? Hundreds of thousands of children, hundreds of thousands of children's lives lost, and so many others. So of course, this case is bigger even when you measure by the loss of life. But of the agencies involved, what does it take to cover up? What does it take to compromise? So many agencies to collude, to conspire together to cover this up, or to even orchestrate the Walmart mass shooting, because the Walmart mass shooting is absolutely part of all of this. And you can see by the reaction to President Trump in all these years, the many agencies that are involved, and how they absolutely um, acted in ways that were so extreme that it confirmed all these agencies had spent years um, compromising themselves. And the money was so good. The money was so good, and the crimes were satisfying. The crimes were satisfying them, and the money was good. And that just tells you about the human nature. The human nature that is rebellious and um, just up to no good. And so, we're not born angels. We're not born good. That has to be developed to. It's called sanctification. We have to train up a child in the way they should go. When they get older, they shall not depart from it. And if they are not trained up in the way they should go, well, we have a big mess then. We have a real big mess, and that's exactly what we have right now. And the mess is inside the agencies. Okay, and so this is not anything to do with the people. You know, it's it's interesting because the agencies that are supposed to be protecting us, that are supposed to be investigating and meting out justice. These are the criminals. These very agencies have become weaponized and have become the criminals, the real criminals. And President Trump has come in and he has been the cheerleader for these agencies, not in not for the criminals, but to clean them up, right? He has absolutely been a cheerleader. His strategy is to clean up the agencies, go to bat for them, right? Go to bat for them, the agencies themselves, just like the office of the presidency. Just because we had a bad individual as the president of the United States doesn't mean that the presidency itself is bad. That's how he's viewing things, in my opinion. He is going to bat for the agencies themselves, and he's working very, very hard to clean them up, to rout out the compromised um, corners of them, and the conspiracy inside of them, the criminal elements inside of them. And it's really bad. It's very deep. And so, we have this very good news, breaking news that a, the SAC, right, the special agent in charge of the El Paso FBI office was Agent Morales. Um, we know, we can confirm to you today that he was up to no good, okay? That he was one of those compromised um, inside the agencies that, left very dirty corners, very corrupt, polluted, toxic, that he didn't do his job and he was routed out. He was routed out. Um, and if you've ever used a router, that just sounds really good to me because I have used a router. I love woodworking. Um, but he was routed out, and he's been replaced with Jared Brown now, special agent in charge, Jared Brown. And so we have our work cut out for us because everything that we sent Morales, which is a lot, it's a lot, it's a volume, it is a volume of information. Because we have been working behind the scenes, we've been working very hard. We're just not all talk. We're not all talk. We don't just come on here every night and, um, you know, uh, and this is important. This is very important because we're a government of the people, by the people, for the people. And we need your support and we need you to know what we are doing and what we are up against. And, it is not the time to look the other way. It is absolutely the time to give support, to give thumbs up, to share posts, to also, if you're in similar situations, maybe you can also file, identify the crimes, and document the crimes, file the crimes. And because the more that we shout out, the more that we file, the more we're going to clean out these corrupt corners. And President Trump can't do it alone. Okay, he's magnificent. He's absolutely magnificent. There's no doubt in anyone's mind the amount of energy, the he like he's almost a Superman kind of human, right? With all of his energy, with all of his experience, and I'm not worshiping him or anything like that. I am absolutely giving him some reverence, and absolutely calling out what's true, that he is just been working so hard for decades, um, to make America great again. Not just this year, not just these last few days. Um, so I've been watching him since 2015 and just in awe of his energy and his leadership skills and getting through everything that he is uh, that has been weaponized against him. And so, but he can't do it alone. He just can't do it alone. And, he's not going to be around forever. So we have to all get together and, um, and, um, and learn from it and absolutely stand together and operate together for, if you're a Christian, if you have that kind of faith, to glorify God in everything that we do. And that means that we have to establish justice and we have to establish order. And why am I talking like this? Because I want to talk about William Molinar. Okay. I want to talk about Sam Madrano. I want to talk about Sylvia Brunda Firth. I want to talk about Danae Katzen and Alyssa Nava and Michael Gonzales and James Bonneau Montoya. And I want to talk about, there's so many other, Brookshire, Patrick Brookshire. Um, these are all those that are supposed to be wanting the best for us, right? They're supposed to be, most of them, I think all of them, are paid by taxpayer money. Okay, paid by taxpayer money. And they're supposed to be wanting to do the best for us. Judge Madrano, because William Molinar is a detention officer, right? So he's part of the Fraternal Order of Police, which isn't that a nice name? Fraternal Order of Police. That's such a nice name, right? It's such a beautiful name. I think he's part of the FOP. I want to talk about Anthony Ray Acuna, right? The killer of the hero FBI agent Julio Cordero. Um, because Acuna is being defended largely in part of the FOP, the Fraternal Order of Police. Um, and the president of that Fraternal Order of Police that I'm concerned with is Michael Gonzales, who was running for sheriff, and he's up to no good. He's absolutely up to no good. And you know what he's good at? He's good at deceiving. He's good at deceiving and painting a picture of himself as so good, as so noble, as so wonderful, and he's the opposite. He is the absolute opposite, up to no good. And so we have to warn everybody that we have these real deceivers that have, it's like instead of sitting at the seat of Jesus and learning how to be good, I think they've been sitting at the feet of Lucifer and learning how to be deceivers because that's what's been going on. And these people are paid with taxpayers' money, with taxpayers' money. And we're talking about the worst type of crimes against children, absolutely. But also, we're talking about murder. We're also talking about theft, huge theft, extortion, embezzlement, money laundering. We're talking about the worst type of crimes, uh, way more. It's so much bigger than the Iran Contra scandal. But Iran Contra scandal, I mention that because it happened in El Paso. Okay, it happened in El Paso, and it's very similar. But I think that was a test run. It was a test run for what they did afterwards. And it is really like the ultimate deception of the American people to um, assert power over them and be able to commit crime and more crime and more crime and more crime over them. And that's why we're in this situation, um, where everyone is shocked when President Trump brings out the HHS, right? The Human Health and Safety Services or whatever, um, and talks about Tylenol and which is acetaminophen. I hope I'm saying that right. And talks about the Cobra strikes, right? I called them the Cobra strikes. And just you wait. That is only the tip of the iceberg of the deception. Okay, that has caused so much harm to so many, and including Patrick Crucius, right? He was autistic, and so many are autistic. I think 1 in 12 boys are autistic. It's a little bit 1 in 25 for girls, um, and so everyone is shocked instead of um, getting out a ticker tape parade. There should be a ticker tape parade for that kind of news coming out because the amount of lives that are going to be saved, the amount of anguish that will be saved that parents won't have to go through. Because let me tell you, I was in classes with them, and the parents were like, "Please take them. I don't know what else to do. I don't know what else to do. I can't do anything for my child. Please take them. Take them, and you don't have to bring them home." You know, this is it's tormenting. It is so sad, and we to have a chance to understand what has happened with how we got autism, and to get a result so that we can stop it, so that we can at least restrain it, right? And give people some knowledge about where it's coming from so that they can make their own decisions. No one's being coerced to do anything, but you can make your own decisions. I think that that deserves like a ticker tape parade. And the media is just so hell bent on crime and death and destruction and this power takeover so that they can put us through more crime and death and destruction, um, and so that they can do their criminal trafficking. You know, to do criminal trafficking, you kind of have to have a healthy economy, right? But they're so they just don't think right. They just absolutely don't think right. And so today, the big connection that's being made from all the news, because the last 3 or 4 days with all the news, it was just absolutely just nonstop news coming out. And so today, just reflecting on it all, and thank you, Laura, for coming on. What about CPS? Um, CPS and Borstar are very, very big players in our son's case. Okay, very big players in our son's case. Um, and that's what I'm saying. Our son's case has about 23 different agencies involved in it. I don't think there's any other case. There's no case that ever comes close to that. I mean, some cases might have 5, 6 agencies. Our son's case has 23. That's what I mean. It's so big. It's bigger. Even 9/11 only had, I think, 5 agencies involved in 9/11. Okay, and our son's case has what, 23 cases now. 23 agencies, excuse me, 23 agencies involved, which includes, well, Borstar is part of CPS, as I understand it, or, Homeland Security. And, there's just so many. Now we receive confirmation from the Department of Public Safety, DPS, of the investigation going forward into Patrick Brookshier. Patrick Brookshier, what he did was not a little foible. It wasn't just something little bit of mean. No, this was absolutely targeted and intentional. Targeted and intentional. This was the weaponization of his trooper status, okay, or his status as a husband to the family connections to Dreams Cabaret, which are absolutely cartel tied and up to no good, because Leilani Hart was getting her mail there, and Leilani Hart is with Danae Katzen, is with Amber Chase. Amber Chase is good friends with Dallas Hart. How do I know this? Because they sent me so much harassment. And through that, when you put all that harassment together, you can put other pieces together. And she admits to all of that. So, they don't like to always mention Leilani. Leilani is really problematic for them. That's why they don't like to mention Leilani's name. But they are absolutely circling their wagons around Leilani, right? And she needs to be arrested. And this is where Sac Morales failed. Sac Morales failed. We'll see what happens with Sac Jared Brown, right? Sac Jared Brown. The name Brown, oh, it's a little bit problematic for us. It's always these same names that seem to be very Mormon faction connected, because the bigger picture is this Mormon faction. You can call it other religious groups or whatever. But that's not what the evidence shows. And for years, I've been saying something is very strange. There's a common denominator, and it is a Mormon common denominator, a Mormon faction. And lo and behold, Woody Hunt is the billionaire. He's the billionaire, and when you look at his range goes way beyond Texas, way beyond El Paso. Okay, he's a big, very, very big player in all of this, very big player, and he's up to no good. He's absolutely criminal, and he has like 80% of all military housing contracts. I mean, and that's why when I came in, there was, a case going on because people were living in military housing. I've lived in military housing before, and these people were living in military housing that were built with shoddy supplies, and it was causing health problems, and lots of mold and mildew and all of that. So uh, uh, the building materials that were used were the lowest of the low for our military, for our national defense, right? And so that was screamed out in 2020 and 2021 to me, and I'm like, really, really, okay. So that always was in the back of our minds, and now it's starting all to come together. And you can't talk about Sam Madrano without talking about the Walmart mass shooting fiasco, absolute disgrace, absolutely a money grab, a taxpayer money grab. That's all that was. Delay, 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 gag, 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 seal the information, keep all of the information away from the people when it comes to the Mayela Crucius family, his health, his autism. It was us that exposed all of that, and more, and that the medical examiner is illegal, and the fraud going on with the Walmart mass shooting victims funds, and the distribution to unqualified individuals, the individuals that lost their life. These are very interesting individuals, and they have interesting ties, just like David Johnson. David Johnson lived on the same street as Ernest Christopher Grant, and his ties are, David Johnson. And I really want to push all this information even more. That's why we need help for you to push this information out there, because it's so important. Because if his daughter is married to the Melendez family, the same Jesus Melendez canine cop that tried his hardest to set and frame. Well, he did frame Richard. It didn't stick, but he did. And tied to Belen Rocha and that family, and Danae Katzen and Rosa Maria Valdez Garcia. You're talking about a someone that died in it, being connected to Rosa Maria Valdez Garcia and her ex-husband, who she divorced in 2001, I believe, was also professionally executed that day. Okay, there's no doubt about it that Alexander, the German national, she was married to a German national, not Mexican, not American, a German national, Alexander Gerhard Hoffmann wrote, that was professionally executed that day. There's no doubt in our minds about that, because we have the evidence, and there was a lot of tampering. We know that there was a lot of tampering, and that there was an orchestration of this very bloody mass shooting. We know that. It's just because the evidence is so overwhelming, and it doesn't fit with the fake narrative at all, at all. And so, so here we are, a lone voice, telling everybody what the evidence declares. And now you have a lot of voices going out telling what happened with Charlie Kirk because it's not adding up. The initial story is not adding up. And they get you very quickly with an initial story because then you go, oh, okay. And then you go on with your business. You have your own lives, right? And so that's why they're very, very fast on creating a narrative from the very, very beginning. They want to do the psyop on you instead of waiting until the investigation is complete. Well, it was 3 years in the Walmart case, 3 years, and there was still no forensics report. Okay. I mean, that is absolutely criminal. That's not even absurd. That's not even derelict. That's absolutely criminal. Criminal. And so, and that's the DPS were in charge of that investigation. And where are the people outraged in the DPS? Where is the inspector general in it, right? And this is the inspector general of the DPS now, who can absolutely turn us away, and they're probably going to try to manipulate this as much as they can with Patrick Brookshier. And that's why we're putting out the information, because what he did deserves that he loses his job. He cannot have a badge that he can arrest people. Okay. He cannot be entrusted with the power to arrest people. Okay. He cannot. This, what he did was so bad, he needs to lose that privilege because he has conflicts of interest with not only Delia Briones, the 2028 stamper, and so much other crime in that El Paso clerk's office. In our son's case too, the leaking and everything, and the giving access to criminals to do us harm, to interfere with the case. She has to be arrested, right? And so this DPS investigation into Patrick Brookshier is very, very serious because the Fongs, the connections with the Dreams Cabaret and Leilani Hart cannot be ignored. And what he did, his own actions, cannot be ignored. And, is he part of an FOP? Is he part of a fraternal order of police? Where, to me, the fraternal order of police is not to protect a criminal element within the police departments, within the badge carrying officers that are allowed to arrest, right? That are given that privilege. That is not. I don't think that should be the job of a fraternal order of police. But it looks like that is our the information that we're getting in about the Fraternal Order of Police. It's very key in all of this because it looks like they're protecting the criminals. It looks like they're protecting those that commit the worst of the worst type of crimes. How is it that you can have somebody with a record since 2005 or 6, right, of a continuous uh, acts against children, the worst type of acts against children? This is William Molinar, and be a detention officer. Okay. And in the owner, there's all this crossover with Western Frontier Trading, right? The same kind of connection with detention officers, with membership in the FOP to back them up so that they can do their crime with impunity. This is what evidence, this is what more looking into this is what it's looking like. So these FOPs, these fraternal order of police, they need to be investigated. It's just that clear. And because Michael Gonzales is up to no good. He's absolutely up to no good with Anthony Acuna. Okay. And Anthony Acuna's attorney is Jeep, what's his last name? Jeep, let me see. Oh, you can't forget a name like Jeep, but um, make sure I get this name. Jeep Darnell. Yeah, I have to remember that because Darnell is a military hospital. Jeep Darnell, okay, is the attorney for Acuna, right? Anthony Ray Acuna. And no one's mentioning his name. And no one is demanding the body cam footage, which is absolutely necessary because that's why we pay for it. We pay for the body cams. We pay for the body cam footage. We pay for the storing of body cam footage to be seen, to do a check on our police so that police cannot be abusers. We went through so many different cases where we even have, the whole Black Lives Matter movement was because the whole nation believed that a police officer didn't do their duty properly. So we have body cam footage so that we can see what Anthony Acuna was up against and how he reacted and what he did, and if he applied his true training to it, and if he abused it, if he went overboard, because a man was killed and not, a man was killed. And this particular man was an FBI hero, an FBI hero. And so let's, not tarnish his name like the media did. And anytime the media tarnishes the name of Julio Cordero, yet calls over and over again alluding to the heroism of William Molinar in these disgusting articles. Really, they're disgusting. K Fox should be totally ashamed of themselves. It's just the most disgusting, and that the media are so in on it because they're like, oh, the horses, the horses. Look, he is a R asterisk PIST. That's what he is. A child R asterisk PIST. And not only that, groomer, months, 7 months, 7 months. And then they call the child a teen. They just sugar it all over so that people do not know the truth. And he gets probation by Judge Sam Madrano, the absolute loser. He's an absolute criminal loser that needs to have everything, his whole robe, his gavel taken away from him. He is so compromised. If he is going to let someone like William Molinar, who has repeat offenses, continuous on the same child numerous times, repeat offenses, sorry, something's up. Something is stinky. And through this whole case of our sons, it's been so stinky. And you know who's been stinky? The agencies. It's been the police. It's been the CID. It's been the FBI. It's been, the 23, 15 plus agencies meet, the ATF, and the congressman and the senators and the President Biden was terrible the 4 years. Um, it's only been President Trump's administration that has delivered a semblance of justice in this case. Only President Trump. And let me tell you, Amber Chase was absolutely vile against President Trump. Absolutely. This group is a political group that is absolutely working against President Trump. That makes Richard's case a political case, an act of terrorism, um, absolutely a federal case. And, I wish I had a lot of lawyer training because there's so many violations in this by this group. And don't forget that William Molinar is the daddy of, the likes of Amber Chase. I mean, gosh, sometimes you have to go and throw up just the thought of her, because it just gets so bad, and she's seems to have this connection with the FOP. Okay, that's the FOP is turning out to be very important because she has a connection um with Michael Gonzales also. But I'm saying beyond that. Um, and that's why you saw them in this little group together. It's a tidy little group. And they have violated their oaths. They have absolutely weaponized their positions to do the worst type of crimes. And look at Sam Madrano is protected. Don't for, and this is what I have to explain to everybody. Sam Madrano can only do what he did, give the likes of William Molinar probation, which is, going to be waved away just a few years. He won't even have a record on all this. It's just disgusting. It's so disgusting. And Sam Madrano, who is so pro the worst type of crimes against children, is being defended by Danae Katzen's lawyer, who is on the list of the FOP, and that's Alyssa Nava. And so is Jeep Darnell. Jeep Darnell is on the list of the FOP attorneys. And and so this is where this connection uh, is really shouting out. And Sam Madrano could not do what he is doing without this support by Alyssa Nava, but also by coverage from the State Commission on Judicial Conduct. So the State Commission on Judicial Conduct is paid by taxpayers, and that commission is supposed to be the oversight of judges and their judicial conduct. And if they're the investigating body over these judges, and we know that because we submitted reports there, right? We submitted complaints there. And who sits on that board blocking the complaints, allowing Sam Madrano not to be investigated for his violations of judicial conduct? It's Sylvia Barunda Firth, the El Paso attorney. She was the city attorney that had to leave because of her own fraud, because of her own scheming, right, with her husband Victor Firth. So but it doesn't stop there, y'all, because she has a huge conflict of interest. She also sits on the El Paso Community Foundation. That's Woody Hunt's Mormon faction that has a grip on El Paso and owns El Paso Matters. So she gets to control, she's a controlling body of what gets published in El Paso Matters. Okay. Not only that, she's the sister of Osvaldo or whatever, Barunda from El Diario. Okay? El Diario. Come on. So she's controlling what is being put out into the minds of the people and creating evidence for these courts to either prosecute or to give them probation or dismiss the case. And it's all like a stage. It's all being handled, and she's a huge player in this. But if the FPO wasn't controlled, if the Fraternal Order of Police were not controlled, then they could absolutely be another body that could investigate, that could give the population the truth, because they are very respected. You think, oh, Fraternal Order of Police, and we love our police, right? But not when the Fraternal Order of Police is developing a police force of criminals. And so, you're wondering, how can this be that Richard, everything happened to him the way it did? And everybody was just shaking and silent and going along with it or whatever, or even joyous if they were the satanic part of this Mormon faction group, because there is a satanic part of it. So yeah, it's absolutely the problem. And I remember people saying, we've got so many agencies. How could this happen? And I'm like, I don't know, but something is stinky. Something is very stinky. And now we know. Now we know. We know that the depth and the width and the height of the compromise and the corruption was beyond what we knew and what we know. But what we do understand is that it is compromised, that there is corruption. And that's why President Trump is getting so much support. That's why, not because he's, uh, uh, you know, perfect in all things, the same thing with Charlie Kirk. That's why he got so much support, because the students in the colleges didn't know everything, but they did know that the bottom line, that there was corruption in the universities, that there was compromise in the universities, that there were things going on that were up to no good. They might not have been able to define it perfectly, but they knew it was no good. And that's why Charlie Kirk got so much support, because at least his discussions were able to try to define what was wrong and what to do about it. And that is why they had to shut him down, because this evil group wants to be anonymous. They operate in deception, and they want to keep it anonymous and deception. And they're not anymore. It's out. And we're finding out. And it seems that these FPO, Fraternal Order of Police, when it comes to Patrick Brookshier, when it comes to Anthony Acuna, when it comes to why isn't the FOP defending Julio Cordero? They need to bring out that body cam footage. It's ours. We have the right to see it. We want to see it where he was shot, because that is not, like the news says it's in the chest, but the reports are they couldn't have an open casket because, for other reasons. We would like to know. We would like to know if there's a cover up. when it comes to the hero of Poison Ponds? We would like to know. We would like to know if there's a cover up when it comes to our hero, Richard Halliday. We would like to know where Richard's remains are. We want justice, and we want what's right. And all of these games and all of this deception and all of these smooth words and whatever that they try to do to pull over the wool over our eyes, we're like, no, we want reality, and that's that body cam footage. So, and as AI gets better, they're going to be able to really manipulate us. So this is where we really need to stand up to all of this and clear it out. We have to clear out these institutions and these agencies. We have to gut them of all of the compromise and the corruption, because we are on the precipice of AI. AI that can absolutely be an agent of deception or an agent of production. And, it just depends on what hands it falls into, right? So we do need to act. We do need to solve these cases. We do need to have justice. It was very right of President Trump to give a big, like, I think it was more than a nudge. It was more than a nudge to Pam Bondi, and I hear that Comey, he might be indicted soon, or and we're hoping that the FBI there in El Paso um, will arrest Leilani Hart now. Um, we're hoping that they cleaned out Morales and they brought in Jared Brown. Hopefully, now we'll get an arrest on Leilani Hart. You know that Ernest Christopher Grant has been arrested, and we know that Patrick Brookshier is being investigated. That's a big deal because everybody in that group that he's in are up for investigation now. Okay, so that when I saw Solomon and his name in there, um, mortuary operations, that gave me some hope. That absolutely gives me some hope, and that will be really addressed soon. That will be addressed soon. So thank you so much, everybody. I could just really keep updating everybody on all the things. But I've posted up images to try to give you faces for everything that we're saying, to back up everything that we're saying, um, and help you understand this quagmire. Well, this network, this just a network. Just put a picture of a net down with and all the little crossover points as an agency or a person in an agency. But this is absolutely a government problem. It really is. It's a government problem, and the civilians are the targets. And so it needs to be cleaned out because I can't even imagine if they got even more power. I can't even imagine. So thank you so much. God bless you. And I will be back tomorrow. God